Hi everyone, welcome back to the Learning Gardener. Today we have got some really beautiful summer plants from various nurseries around the south coast of New South Wales where I live. And we are going to be planting up a huge series of containers. Some of these containers I've had for ages and have been clearing out because they've just become hydrophobic with the soil or weed filled, or it's time. And so I thought what I would do is turn the area at the bottom of my deck into a huge container garden bed. I was planning on actually planting everything in ground, but because we had to add an extra downpipe off the deck, this area can get really, really soggy if we get a lot of rain. And being coastal, we do sometimes get quite a lot of rain. First thing was to clean it out. We are in summer, so at the moment the grass is growing like a weed, and I do hate edging around these plants. So the plan is to lay down a whole stack of cardboard. And one of the other reasons I don't like whippersnippering in through here is because we have a particular type of weed, a wandering trad, and it is kind of like a succulent. So if you pluck it or whippersnipper it or whatever, and then you don't get rid of everything, the little piece that you dropped will reroot in, and before you know what's going on, you have that horrible weed everywhere. So I was kind of hoping that by covering this area in some cardboard, it might minimize that a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. And there was quite a bit to clean out through here to get going. I've been saving up my cardboard for this area, and I also need to get more cardboard for the very, very back of the yard, which at the moment I'm almost too scared to go to because the grass is so long and we back onto kind of a nature reserve area, and I don't want to bump into any snakes. But I had just enough cardboard to layer this area up nicely. And the first pot that got relocated to its new spot was this dwarf Washington orange. It was looking amazing. It had a whole heap of red Flanders poppies around the bottom of it in spring, and I was trying to be very vigilant with watering because once a citrus starts setting fruit, if you don't actually water them regularly, they will drop the fruit. And for some reason, it dropped the fruit anyway. So I don't know if I'm going to get any oranges this year. There's one left, so maybe one. This terracotta pot, I don't actually love this type of terracotta pot, but you know what? It was the best price there is. It was free. Someone in Sydney was throwing it out because they were moving house. So my dad popped it in his car and brought it down when he came to visit me. So what I'm planting in here is a range of perennial plants. This is a beautiful salvia I got from a different nursery than one I've ever been before. They had such a massive range of salvias, and it just smells absolutely amazing. And we're going to be pairing it with a summer pastels yarrow, a yellow echinacea, a purple heuchera, and a pink daisy that we also got from the same nursery as the salvia. But it's such a beautiful combination. And this yarrow, I planted some of it that I grew from seed, and I can't get any more seed of it now. And I'm so in love with these flowers. They're absolutely beautiful. They make a fantastic cut flower. They dry beautifully with the silica, and I've got some pressed in between some books inside, so I'll be able to tell you soon whether they work well as a pressed flower. But I wanted some more but couldn't grow anymore because I didn't have any more seed, and then I stumbled across them in the nursery and took everything that they had, which wasn't a lot, but I still took all the pots that they have because I just love this plant. I've read that yarrow can be invasive in Australia, but to be honest, if this plant wants to invade, I am totally fine with that. It's absolutely beautiful. These lighter terracotta pots my parents bought me for Christmas. I selected a range of pots, and these are actually going to be for my son's memorial garden, which I will build when the weather is a little bit cooler. So I have a range of different pots, most of which you won't see in this video because they're much larger pots, and I didn't want to plant them up and then have to try and move them because I can barely move them now when they're empty. But these smaller terracotta pots, I thought it's probably better to get the English lavender into these pots now so they can put on a little bit of growth and we can enjoy some blooms while they're waiting for their forever home in the courtyard area. And the same goes for these Roald Dahl David Austin roses. If you watched the silica flower drying video, you'll know that I very much associate the Roald Dahl rose with my son Oliver, who was unfortunately stillborn. And yeah, so I want to have a lot of this rose in his memorial garden, so I bought 4 of them. They are going to go in the larger terracotta pots, but as I said, they'll be too heavy if I plant them in now. But they do need to have a bigger space for their root ball. They do need to develop a little bit in the next few weeks. And in my experience, the Roald Dahl rose grows very, very quickly. So I wanted to make sure they at least got up into the next size up pot. I'm not sure if the pots that I have ultimately will be big enough for them to reach their full potential, but I guess I'll probably be pruning from them a lot. But this is, so the lavender and the roses will eventually move from this area, but for now they can stay here and be beautiful and give us some blooms and make the butterflies that are now swarming this garden enjoy a little bit more of our summer blooms. The budget obviously only extends so far, so wherever I can, I try and grow from seeds. It has been a very, very strange year seed-wise. I've even had other friends who have gardens in Sydney say that they've given up on growing seeds this year, and I'm not sure if it's just the weird weather that we've had, which has been hot and cold since the first week of spring, and I mean like summer temperatures and then back to winter temperatures alternating weeks, or if it's the Bunnings soil. I think some of it is the soil. I think I've had some dodgy seed packets, and we've obviously had crazy weather. But these are some Globe Amaranth. I'm hoping that this pot will turn into a mass of amaranth that I will be able to experiment with, both with the silica and dried flowers. I wanted to do a Christmas tree of dried flowers, which previously I've managed to do half a tree of basically straw flowers only, but none of my straw flowers got going this year, so all I had was statice, so I didn't do it. So if I can get a whole bunch of echinacea that's dried, tansy, which I've got drying in my kitchen at the moment, and a whole bunch of Globe Amaranth, and finally get my straw flowers going again, that will make for hopefully a really interesting tree next year. And I want to plan to make more wreaths for the front door throughout the year, because at the moment I have one with purple statice, yellow tansy, and the yarrow that I showed you earlier, and it's beautiful. But I would like to be able to have something like that on my door year round with different flowers, and it will be hopefully amazing if we can get these flowers going. Despite sitting in its nursery pot for over 12 months and sitting on the deck neglected, this hydrangea has done really, really well, and hasn't even managed to take up all of the soil in its nursery pot. But I'm hoping that if I put it behind the existing Roald Dahl David Austin rose, which you can see on the left side of your screen, which has turned into quite a beast and needs to go up a pot size desperately, I'm hoping that that rose will provide a little bit of shade from the intense sun that we can get in Australia. Although this area doesn't get blasted by the afternoon sun, it mostly gets sun up until about 2 p.m. So hopefully the hydrangea should be quite happy here. I had a few pots I filled with seeds. These are dark maroon pincushion flowers seeds that I saved from my garden 2 years ago. So hopefully they will germinate, and then I added some scabiosa to another pot. I did a few white echinaceas, and yeah, that was about it, I think, seed-wise. And hopefully they'll all germinate directly in the pot. We'll get some flowers from them soon, but we'll have to wait and see whether they actually manage to germinate. We've had some pretty intense wind and heat lately, so it is really hard to keep the pots and the soil moist enough for them to germinate happily. I managed to pick up 3 of the yarrow when I was out at the nursery, so all 3 have gone into pots. There are going to be 2 in these matching pots and 1 in that large terracotta pot that I got for free. I really like these terracotta square pots. Most of them have giant holes in the bottom, so I've used offcuts of bits of wood from the backyard to fill up the hole in the bottom so that the soil doesn't just come straight out. They were actually left behind by the previous owner, so I've adopted them and we're planting English lavender in them and the white echinacea seeds. There are quite a few pots in this combination, including the one we planted the hydrangea in, that were left behind by the previous owner of this house. So they've been given nice new homes, and hopefully the plants will grow quite well in them. But if we need to change these lavender out to a larger pot so they can have more soil for their root ball, we can do that down the track. But I'm really happy with how this area turned out. I wasn't sure how it was going to look with the mix of pots and the cardboard underneath, but I've kind of gotten used to the cardboard over the last few days, and I'm really happy with this area. I hope you guys have enjoyed planting up these containers, and hopefully I'll be able to show you in the next couple of weeks the change that this area goes through, and hopefully we get a mass of beautiful flowers for our local bees and for the butterflies. If you've enjoyed this video, I hope that you'll consider liking it or subscribing to this channel, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.